Hello. Hello, hello. Hey, hello. What's up, man? Not a whole lot going on tonight other than I'm finishing up some snowmen that I started before Christmas. Trying to get this stuff knocked out so here in the next couple of weeks we can get back to some Halloween junk. We've got some pretty cool ideas for some new Halloween props, so I'm ready to get on that stuff. But I've got a few of these to get knocked out. I've had some people that placed orders for snowmen, so I need to get them done. Happy New Year to you too, man. Well, hello from LA. Can you guys hear me? I can't tell if everything's working properly. I can't tell if there's a lag or anything. Okay, looks like all's good. Awesome. Cool. I have no real plans for this other than I'm going to paint these little guys, finish them out, put some hats and stuff on them, that type of stuff. So, you guys got any questions for me? Ask away. Because all I'm doing is finishing up some detail work on these. I was supposed to have these done before Christmas, but that didn't happen. Got really busy with family and things, so this stuff didn't get finished up. Anybody out there got any good big projects ready for this Halloween season that you're anxious to start? Oh, Susan's from LA. So hey, speaking of that, I've seen there's do you I saw there's a lot of rain and storms coming into California. Are you guys getting any of that stuff? I saw a lot of flooding and things going on. Look like in some different areas. All right, on cool. So you made one of these little snowmen. Yeah, they're pretty fun. Tonight I'm going to finish all these up. I think I want to put a top hat. I'm going to build a top hat for this one and a sock cap for that one. This one's going to look more like this when it's done, but this one's going to do a top hat and stuff on him. So it'll look pretty decent. Awesome. Good thing's been dry. I think, well, it all depends. I thought there's another storm coming in over there too. It's like we had right before Christmas here, we dropped down into, it was like -2, -4, -8 degrees, and the wind chill was like -40 or something like that. And for Kansas and Missouri, that's freaking cold. That's real cold for us. And then that lasted about 4 or 5 days. And then after the new year, it's been basically in the 50s and 60s. Today was almost 70 degrees, which is way above normal for wintertime around here. I'm anxious to get started on some some Halloween props. I had some ideas from last year that I didn't get to because I got busy with everything else. So I'm stoked to get started. I just want to get this stuff out of the way. I might actually start one this weekend. and start filming. I did that one live class a few months ago where we did a pumpkin and then made it, did all the detail work with cotton balls. And I talked about doing another live class on pumpkins again, doing it with clay because there's a, I don't even have videos. I've changed clay around so many times, my paper mache clay, that I don't even have a video. There's a way now that I'm doing them all at once once I put the clay on. It's actually pretty fast. So I'm thinking about doing that. So I might start doing like Monday night lives or something like that, and try to go live every Monday and have some kind of project going that everybody can build along with, if that sounds interesting. Cubwell, what's up, brother? What did I just watch the other day? You put something up just the other day that just, what the hell was that? I don't even remember now. Yeah, that's pretty cool for California, isn't it? Yeah, I'm really thinking about doing that. Trying to do Monday night, call it Monday Night Live, and try to do it like some kind of class every single time, where people can build along or whatever. For the ones that really want to build along, they can build along. That way, at least each week, there's something that people can see. Because some of these projects that I'm getting ready to start filming, I don't think there's any way in the world I'm going to be able to build this stuff, build it, get it put together, and make it look good and do an edit all in 1 week. Some of these projects I'm getting ready to take on are going to take quite a little bit of time. And I think when it comes to the videos, most people like to see a start and finish all in one shot instead of getting a partial video and something partially made and then having updates. At least I think. It seems like most people want to see it all the way through to the end, so. Yeah, my son's finally back in California too. He came home for Christmas for leave from the Marines. He's stationed in San Diego. And he just went back last Friday. They haven't had to deal with any of the storms down there. The only thing that sucks about these snowmen is they're so repetitive. But locally, like I sold quite a few of these over December. A lot of locals down here that like them. So let's see, what Keith said. See, what's your night job, Keith? No, these, dude, I haven't put in my Etsy. These right here, I'm just finishing up for a local person that wanted some, and when Cam got home, I just kind of slowed down and chilled out with him. Didn't get these done, so I got to get these two finished up for her. Someone my wife works with, so got to get them done for her. I've thought about putting some smaller stuff on Etsy, but I just haven't really done it. The only thing I've really had on, I've got to go back and check that because it probably isn't. The only thing I've been selling on Etsy has been my T-shirts, and I have to go back and recheck that because I bet the T-shirt listing is off. Like every 2 or 3 months or something, you got to go back in and reset stuff, and I forget about that junk all the time. I mean, that looks really white in the camera, but it's not. It isn't that white. I got to hit that thing again, and a lot of that blue's coming through. Dang, yeah, go to bed, man. Holy cow, you got to get up at 5 and it's 2. You're already up too late as it is. Yeah, Keith, you got a point. It is. It is. I also think this year I'm going to, I don't know if I'll film it. I doubt if I'll film it. I think I'm going to play around with making some molds and doing some casts of some smaller stuff. Like these snowmen here. I mean, every single year, if I make a few of these, put them on Facebook and locally, it's like I get all kinds of people want to buy them. So instead of just individually making one over and over and over again, I think I want to do a few and do it where I can just pour them and cast them and send them out. And I also thought about doing some of my pumpkins and molding those and then getting some different rigid foams and making some molds and doing some foam pumpkins that are hollow inside, that are raw, and maybe even do some chest cavities and some different things like that and sell them as people are interested in them. It's kits to build, right? Just like a raw looking foam pumpkin that you can paint however you want to do. You know, they'd have different facial details or whatever, or you could even change them once you got them, and then maybe some kind of rib cage thing to go along with it. Some other stuff where it's kind of like a starter kit just to build your own junk. That might be fun as well. For the crafter that doesn't want to build from scratch but still likes to paint and just put things together on the easy side, that might work. Mm-hmm. These were kind of fun. I basically tested these. I've got went and bought a little round wood puck. I got them from Hobby Lobby. And then whenever I did my mache on these, I took my balls. And I glued my balls to this and had them together, and then put my clay around the balls and molded them to the bottom so I have a perfectly flat surface every single time. And that worked out pretty slick. I like that. So I wind up painting this black on the bottom when I'm done and probably even sign it. But that was nice because after a lot of times after these things dry, even if I make a half flat bottom to them, they'll warp and then they set kind of funky. They're never completely flat. But by adding that little wood puck, that was the way to do that. That turned out nice. Nice and flat. Well, I could spray paint them white for speed, but I'm inside the house. I don't have any good ventilation in here. It's chilly outside. And I don't have a heated garage, so yeah. Because like everything else, Keith, I like to make it as hard as possible. And you can't tell, so I don't see, you can't see, but I base coated that blue. If that'll focus. All right, see, so when I base coat that blue and then I've kind of heavy dry brush that white, the blue, the camera doesn't pick it up, kind of shines through, right? So when I'm looking at this, um, it looks kind of frosty and frozen. That blue kind of comes through. So, and I might be able to pull that off with spray paint too, but I've done it this way. Those little gnomes you did, dude, were freaking sweet. That was a good little video. Fast way to make some funky gnomes, and they turned out good too, dude. Mm-hmm. Thanks. Yeah, the only reason I started doing the blue undertones was when I made that twisted snowman, and I really wanted him to look frozen. So that started that whole thing. Oh my gosh, I need like you guys can't see, but any more little stuff up close, I have to wear glasses anymore. I used to have great vision. Now I got to wear reading glasses. And some of this is small enough that it's like I need some other kind of little magnifying glass, even under my glasses, so I can see these details. That drives me crazy. I hate not being able to see right up on the edge. It drives me bonkers. Oh, that sounds cool. Severed elf head. That'd be sweet. Yeah, getting old dust suck blows. Besides, besides that severed head, what other projects you got? I know you got to be having some projects ready to go. Getting ready to start some projects. What do you got going on, Keith? I mean, it's January. It's haunt building time right now. Oh, so you can see up close without your glasses, but you can't see far away. Oh, hey, check this out. So this was a snowman I started during all this time, and so I didn't leave the eyes sunk in, and they looked kind of. He looks like a freaking chameleon or something. But anyway, that being said, with his eyes kind of weird like that, and then this was some stuff left over when I did one of those Christmas trees with the jute twine. It's kind of like a witch's hat, but not quite. So I'm going to change a bit of this stuff up. I'm going to make this sink down on this head a little bit. And this particular snowman here, between this jute twine and some other, I've got some burlap and some other stuff. I'm going to kind of turn this into a scarecrow slash um, snowman. And I think it's going to turn out pretty cool. It looks freaking goofy right now, but it should look pretty awesome when it's done. So I'll probably do that here pretty soon too. That's not really Halloweeny, but I really want to do that. Oh yeah, dude, I forgot. I saw that rat deal going on. I did a There's a video on the channel somewhere. I did a big, huge rat head, like the head and the first part of the shoulders and front arms. Called it Envy. Barry Flanagan was running managing a different hunt. The hunt that's going on now is his. And I think the name of the hunt was like Fear of the Woods or whatever. So this was like oh man, this is closer to 7, 8 years ago. And he hit me up. So I made this huge rat, man. This thing was from the front of his nose to the back of it, and that was just like heads and shoulders. That thing was 3.5 foot long, something like that. Big with some nasty claws coming off the hands, and I left it open on the back because I wanted to put it on an animatronic to shoot out of a barrel, and then did the eyes where they would light up. And it was pretty cool. In the first year they got it there, after the season, they didn't store it right, and so like actual rats got to it and tore it all up. So he sent it back. They sent it back to me, and then I got to redo it again. And then the second time around, I was a little more gory, and I think the second time around it looked way, way better. It was so much cooler. I've made some pretty neat stuff. The neat stuff I made is all gone. Like I don't own it. It went somewhere else. But that rat was fun. I did some gnarly hair with it and did. I just used yarn. I pulled yarn apart. I bought this yarn that was gray and whites and stuff like that, and then I cut it down and pulled it all apart and then glued it on, and it made a really cool hair texture. It looked good. Yeah, the dragon head was a few years after that. I just realized I found pictures the other day of burning that dragon head. I was going to throw that back up on Facebook again. Yeah, if you go to the channel and like look up, I don't know if you can look up like Envy. I can't remember what it was, but it was. Well, let's see. Let's see, Keith. Let's see if I can do. Let's do this. My channel, vidjez. Boy, this is gonna be so small, even if I find it. There's the dragon. There's the twisted snowman. Where is you at? Because I can even. Oh, there it is. That's the rebirth. Okay. Let's see if I can do this and see if you can see it. Oh my gosh, that glare is terrible. So it's called The Rebirth of Envy. You can't even see it on there. Yeah, so if you go to the channel, look that up, look up The Rebirth of Envy, Giant Paper Mache. It was 7 years ago. 7 years. God, that was a long time ago. Long time ago. Dude, that's what I number one built for videos. And the number one thing I started doing was building to teach. And everything was more of a real tutorial. You go back and look at the older ones. But then I had a few people just contact me. So over the years, I've made, well, I sold quite a few pumpkins. People got to wanting those, but I didn't particularly build them to sell. But I made, I want to say, four, 4 or 5 kind of bigger prop type deals that I specifically made to sell, and they went to a haunt. Like I could say more along the lines, I was commissioned to make it. Doing stuff the way I do takes so much time. There's not a lot. You don't make any money in it by the time you're done. So that's why I try to stay on the vidya side of everything. Uh, that's what even got me into doing this stuff because I couldn't afford to buy cool props. So I try to find a way to make them myself and make them cheap. And then that's really the whole purpose of the channel. Dude, I've got playlists. I've got like 8, 10, or 12 playlists. They all, like if someone goes to the channel, the first thing you see is the playlist. So there's all kinds of playlists. But I saw a guy talking about doing some things the other day where they're talking about like doing marathon type stuff. And I think I might do that where I might take some of the old videos that I've got and group them together into like one big long video and do like a marathon style video because I've got like pumpkin wise there's like 3 or 4 different tutorials on pumpkins on different ways to make pumpkins. So I could do like a marathon of that with all the different ones put together into one big video, and if someone wants to take the time to sit down and watch all of them they could. And then I've got like the groundbreaker that I made, and then another groundbreaker zombie type of thing. And I could put those together into one. Then with the pumpkin dragon, I could do it. And then I made the werewolf, so I could do like the werewolf videos and the pumpkin videos all together and repost them. Because there's videos. It was funny because originally when I first started doing this, I tried to set up a website that was behind a paywall where to actually get the true tutorial to actually, because my old stuff is true tutorials. It's step by step. You should be able to watch the old videos from 8 or 9 years ago that really show you how to make something out of absolutely nothing, right? Stack of paper to what it is at the end. It's kind of ahead of the time, and I couldn't gain enough traction on that. And the paywall was only like $2 a month or something like that. And then I released them after like a couple years, and I had a lot of hate at first. Would turn to the paywall, and then when I released it, the hate changed to different stuff. But man, I've got like there's a video on this. This is a spell book, and this isn't a book. This was a Cheez-It box, and then that's paper mache clay all cut down to look like it's actually, uh, you know, paper or whatever. Yeah, it's easier to take an old book and do this type of stuff. And my big thing was when I was doing it, how can you make a prop out of just trash and nothing? So that was a Cheez-It box, got converted into uh potion deal. I mean, yeah, potion book, and I've got one on how to do bats. Oh, focus, focus. What? There's bat. There's a bat one. There's that. There's one on a Diablo sent me a picture of this Joker head, and he's like, he challenged me to make it, so I turned it into a tutorial like on how to make an evil Joker. There's a lot, man. There's a lot I forget about. I even did tombstones out of pizza boxes and cereal boxes, and then done with mache, and then that I still have those tombstones. You use them every year. They've held up pretty good. Just lots. There's a lot there. I've got some fast and dirty ones. Like I made these one tutorials called the Rum Reaper. So it was making a tabletop Grim Reaper using my empty Captain Morgan's bottles, and they're pretty cool too. And that's a fast, fun little project. So I suppose if you're not a drinker, if you got some other bottle about the size of that, you could pull that off too. Those were an easy, quick, and dirty deal. Yeah, I mean, I've thought about that, Keith. I thought about like doing another book and kind of regurgitating a little bit of this stuff over again because I know there's a lot. Like the channel's got like 15,000, almost 16,000 subscribers, but it's like I'm getting 400 or 500 views, which isn't a lot in YouTube land. But then it's always funny because I get new subscribers and people don't. I think for the most part, people don't really check your channel out. Like I'm old school. I was on watching YouTube when it first really came out. So anybody that I subscribe to, I've always gone and actually hit their channel and checked through it and watched other old stuff, see what was there. But there's lots of tutorials on there that I don't think most people that come across the channel now even know are there. Man, I got some cool pumpkin creatures that I'm going to make this year. Because we went, the wife and I, when went Christmas shopping, uh, we ran to Hobby Lobby, and Hobby Lobby had this aisle, and I was surprised. Everything was 90% off. It was all their fall stuff. Man, they had all these smaller foam pumpkins that actually had a cool look. Through these right here. I had a whole bunch of these, 90% off. So I bought every one of them on the shelf. Um, it's kind of a cheat. Yeah, I like to make all my own pumpkins, but man, that was too cheap to pass up, and it's too easy to cut faces into those and then add stuff onto them. So I bought a whole bunch of them. We should have some pretty cool. We should have some pretty cool pumpkin creatures this year. The old yard should start filling up with some wicked pumpkins. It should be pretty fun. Yeah, exactly right. Building materials. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I bought some. They had some foliage too, and I bought some of it as well. because I'd like to build first part of this year. I want to build a bunch of these different pumpkin creatures, and I want to do some more scarecrow jacks. I've had requests for some real tutorials on a scarecrow jack, so I need to put one of those together because I want to have 3 or 4 more of those this year. So if I can spend the first part of this year making a bunch of cool pumpkin creatures, then we get to summertime. If the budget allows me to, I want to extend onto that facade and make that facade bigger, and then have a bunch of gnarly pumpkin stuff out there. I want to make some more of those pumpkin spiders too. Like I want to make some smaller ones, and another one about that size too. I'd like to do a whole like nested area of pumpkin spiders that the kids would have to walk through. I've got this story in my head about why you put jack-o'-lanterns on your porch every year for Halloween. And it's a different take on all the original lore. So all these creatures I'm making are basically what I see in my head for this story. One of these days I need to write the story down to be like a book or something. But I'm not a writer. Or maybe I need to find someone who writes and sit down with them and tell them the story. I made these eyes too deep. Too deep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The only thing, I run out of stuff to say. Yeah, man, a cool, like really nested area of pumpkin spiders would be creepy and fun and neat. I've even thought about doing another pumpkin dragon again, bigger like I originally had. But I want to do some more of the pumpkin demons, like the one on the channel. I want, you know, I want the whole yard just to be full of these like little pumpkin demons and pumpkin spiders and just these pumpkin twisted little pumpkin creatures just all over the place. And then maybe have some more ground breakers and you know, you know, the typical stuff. All right, let's glitter these things up. Yeah. Glitter these up, and then we can work on hats, arms, all that good stuff. Dude, you're right, man. Pumpkins never, ever go out. They're one of my favorite. They're like they're one of my favorite things to make, and they're just, to me, they just scream Halloween. I want to do another big werewolf again, but do one standing up on his hind legs. Those are pretty ambitious projects, though. I've learned how to control my glitter. Mix it with a little Mod Podge, and then you can put it where you want it. And it doesn't go everywhere. That's what I should do. Just for you, Keith, I should go buy some big old black, purple, orange glitter and then make a pumpkin and then just paint it all up with glitter. Make it a tutorial. Yeah, dude. It would be cool to have a whole bunch of werewolves out in your yard in different places, man. Especially like you got the one wolfie mount on your wall. Man, you can create the wolves that look like that. I like that that style of wolf, man. It's just so freaking awesome. Oh, that sucks, Sherry. Pearl, yeah, I didn't think about that, Keith. I could have gone and bought me some pearl to throw in. It's basically almost resembles pearl in a way, but it's not. That does suck. We still get, man, we get huge turnout still. This year was real big because of the facade and stuff, and then since I put that facade up, then Joplin's kind of a bigger town around here, and the news caught wind of it, and then they came out and did some stuff, and then put me on a list of places to check out. And then Halloween night, I was gaining so much traction that I threw a deal locally on Facebook that said if you come but between 4:30 and 6:30, if you come, that's a safe time, and we won't scare anybody. And then after that, you're on your own. And oh my gosh, we just had from 4:30 until almost 10 o'clock. It never stopped. Hay rides, just all kinds of just kids everywhere, parents everywhere. It's a lot of fun. But man, it's also too. I've lived in this house where I live my entire life, right? And so I grew up here as a kid, and I've been basically haunting my yard since I was 16, and kind of created a monster. This is the local yokels around here. Everything is this is the place to come to, which is fun and cool. It's interesting because I've got now people that are in their mid 20s and stuff or whatever, and they will tell me stories about how they been coming here since they were kids, right? And scared to come in, when they were younger and kept coming back. And that type of stuff is awesome to hear. So I've been here forever, and it's just kind of grown. But let me tell you something. Oh, yeah, you were saying that, Keith. You got about 30 kids at last time this year. Oh, thanks, Sharon. I'm glad you found. I'm glad it's been halfway entertaining. But I'll tell you, here's the thing, though. You guys can't see me because that's up there. But when I first started doing this stuff, and we would have like, yeah, we might have 30 to 40 kids throughout the night, but there's some fun to that because back when I first started doing this, I would set up dummies in the yard and basically build like a skeleton with 2x4s that I would jam into the ground. Then I'd put pants over the legs, stuff that with newspapers, and I would build a torso with 2x4s, put a shirt around it, stuff that right, and then put a mask on top. So I made no one in my town, everybody had a dummy outside with a dummy that set. So all the dummies I made all stood up because I used 2x4s. So 2x4s, stuff them, then I would have some kind of cheap Halloween mask on top. So the yard would just be maybe some, tombstones and stuff, and then there may be 6 to 7 just dummies out there. Well, the great thing with that is I've always had kind of a core group of friends that would come out and help on Halloween night. So I'd set all that stuff up at the beginning of October, and those dummies would set out for 30 days. People would drive by and see those, and then on Halloween night, get out there. My buddies would come over. Everybody picked a dummy. We tore it down, pull all the wood out of it, shoved the wood in the backyard, and then you redressed it back in that costume, restuffed yourself, and then you set back out right where that dummy was at. So it was great. Then when people drove up and the kids got out, you could hear the parents tell them, "Hey, you've seen these things have been here all month long. They're not real. They're fake." And then after they got their candy, boy, we would come alive. And man, you talk about sending kids running and even sending parents running. It was great. That with the smaller amount of people showing up, that's when you got the best scares because you'd have a car show up, you get a scare, that car leaves or those kids leaves. It might be 5-10 minutes before someone else showed. So you got to kind of set back up again and wait, and then the next car came and then you got them again. And that you got this true jump scare, which was just awesome, right? But as more and more people started coming, you lose that. There's so many people anymore that you can't get that total jump scare anymore because I don't put walls up where you can't see into the yard. You can see everything from the street, so you can see what's going on. And there's just constant people, so it's still fun. But man, I haven't got that true when you really get someone, you watch their eyes go from like this to like that in a second, and it's so funny. And I haven't had a scare like that in years, just because you can see what's going on. Yeah, dude, you totally lose that element of surprise. Totally. But we still have fun. We still scare people, but it's uh, it's not the same. The only way I could do it now is to kind of build walls so you couldn't see from the outside. And I've thought about doing that, but man, I like driving up to the house at night and seeing the whole display. You know, don't know how I'd feel about driving up and seeing just kind of walled off stuff and not everything I got out there. The greatest scare I ever got was, man, my dad was still alive and we was too old. I felt like I was too old to go trick or treating, but I wanted to dress up. So I got in his closet and grabbed some of his overalls, put those on and put a shirt on and then stuffed myself with newspaper and I had a werewolf mask and I went outside and sat out there and just waited for trick or treaters to come. And I had my neighbors came over and they had 3 boys and they just had their youngest. The youngest was with them and it was like the mom and the aunt. and the youngest boy, and they're walking up to the house, and he's like, looks over, sees me, and he's saying, "Man, Mom," he's like, "that thing's alive." And Mom's like, "No, that's not alive, you know." And she's like, "No, that's alive." So he comes over, and I'm sitting down, and he comes over to me, and he pushes my leg, and you could hear the newspaper creak underneath there. And so Mom was like, "See, it's fake." And then he crawls up into my lap, and I just can't believe he's crawling up into my lap. So he crawls up into my lap to like look inside my mask, and I have my eyes closed. And about that time, his mom's like telling him, you know, "Hey, get off there, it's fake." And then I just grabbed him and jumped up, whoa, picked him up off the ground. Oh my God, he's running, screaming. I got him in my hands, and I'm Mom and the aunt gone. They took off screaming, left their kid in my hands, and they're out in the road dying. They just left him to die. Oh, it was so funny. That was the best scare I've ever had. Oh, dude, keep them the same way, man. I love watching them drive by. When I was young, when I was younger, as close to Halloween would get, when the weekends would hit, I would sit outside in a costume, and as cars slowed down to come check out the yard, I would get up and walk to the car just to get an extra scare even before Halloween hit. Fun stuff. See, and I made these little. I did these with polymer clay, and the same thing on that scary gnome I did. I did polymer clay teeth. This stuff is super brittle. It breaks so easy. So I'm not real happy with that. But there's something else called cos clay that I've come across, and I haven't got it yet, but I've heard about. And it's kind of like a polymer clay. You can, sculpt it down or do small things like this, and then when you bake it, it bends. It's kind of like rubbery or whatever, so it doesn't break. I'm thinking about getting some of that to play with to see how it does. Because that's the only thing on these little snowmen I'm doing. These noses are so breakable. Dude, that'd be hilarious. Yeah, use it. I've seen people use it and they say it works really good. I want to use it. I want to order some. Because if I do more snowmen again next year for people around here, I want to have these noses where they don't break so easy. There's my trash bag. The other ones I hot glued on, but I'm going to super glue these into place. Dude, with all this stuff, like I said, I've talked about making a mold for these snowmen and stuff, and I've even been the same way where I've thought about making a mold for the noses too. Either doing it with cosplay where they bend or do it with resin. I just don't want them to break. They break so easy. So if I can get away from them breaking, that would be the best thing. Oh, I remember what the last video was I watched. You did that review on the on those masks that light up. And you beat through them pretty good. And then it was funny, like 2 days later or 3 days later, Steve with Steve's Haunted Yard had those same masks, and he did a review as well. His review wasn't quite as brutal on the equipment as yours was, but it was still a pretty decent review. Now, I thought for sure when you pulled that hammer out that you were going to be able to break those lenses for the eyes, but they held up pretty good. Props and projects. In the past, I've made some out of paper mache and clay. It's just kind of a pain. It takes them longer to dry or whatever. I'd use a toothpick and kind of roll my mache paste over the top of them. Those have held up better than anything else. This year I was trying to be lazy, and I wanted to roll out a whole bunch of them, bake them so I'd have them and then move on. So that's why I went with the polymer clay because it was super fast. I made a whole bunch of them like in 5 minutes. I rolled out a whole bunch of them, threw them in the oven. They were done. Um, so that's the reason I didn't use paper clay or paper mache to make the noses with. And when you get to like these real small stuff like this, that thin, paper clay becomes difficult to deal with that small. Because you've still got particles of paper in there, and they don't want to squash down the best sometimes, and then you run into uh, weird shrinkage factors. So even if what I was doing those or whatever wanted to dry, a lot of times they would shrink real weird, and then I'd still have to take on my Dremel tool with a sanding bit on it, and then sand the noses back down until I got it back to a pretty decent shape for the nose. Which sometimes it was cool, especially if you're doing a twisted pumpkin, because you would leave some weird knots and stuff inside that, which is cool for a decrepit one. But for ones that are supposed to be cute or whatever, it wasn't the best look. So basically, in a nutshell, I was trying to be lazy. I wanted faster ways to make the nose, so I went with that. And then these are brittle, so I'll probably do some cosplay just for shits and giggles to see how that goes. Just play around with it. But 99% of everything I'm going to do, or you'll see on YouTube or anything else, will be paper mache, made from strip paper, made from paper clay, so that you can just make it home so you don't have to spend money. Yeah, dude, I can imagine that, Keith, that the smaller ones would hold a bubble in them. I haven't been. I was approached by one company a long time ago that was, uh, what was it? They were like sell jewelry or something like it was like rings and stuff, skull rings and things like that. And I almost did something with them, but then I was like, nah, because I don't wear a lot of that stuff. But now I'm probably like, man, I probably should have done that. If I could have made a few dollars on it, that's probably what I should have done. All right. These need painted, but I still got that on there. Let's make a top hat for this guy. Let's break out some leftover Christmas stuff. What do we got? What do we got? Yeah, we're gonna make a top hat for him. And this is like I went to the dollar store and they had this was a tea towel. So when I was doing all these, um, and I'll probably do this one. making all these hats and stuff, I just use these tea towels. Work pretty decent. Work pretty decent. Is that inside out? No, it's not. So, okay, that'll be that. Let's move you out of the way. And we need 4 paper rolls. And I need, do I have some more thin cardboard? I wonder, I'll try it like that. No, I do need some thin cardboard. I thought I had some thin cardboard. Where did that go? Well, hang on. Perfect. Perfect. I got some trash. Perfect. Where is my scissors? I helped wife. We did all kinds of crafting stuff over Christmas with nieces and nephews and different things, and now I don't know where all my stuff is at. That's right, man. Well, the kiddos were calling it crafting, so whatever. Thanks, brother, for the hit. Man, I'm glad Pandora's doing better. I really am. I need. Let's do. I want this to be a little bit. Yeah, dude, she is. But man, she's been helping Jose with HH for a long time now. So, and the big thing is if it's, you know what, if it brings her some joy and happiness and some time of everything that's going on, Dude, it's good, man. You know what I'm saying? It might even help out a little bit in a way. I want. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I a few years back, I used to go to Trans World all the time. And I haven't been to Trans World now in quite a few years, but we got to meet Pandora and her hubby, and they cracked me up. Good people, but most everybody's good people. I mean, that's YouTube is how Hunters Hangout even started in the first place. There's some real OG story about how that started because it was uh there was another dude who originally kind of started with Jose, and they started this thing up, and that guy was more along the lines of they get people lined out to do the show, then something happened. If he couldn't make it, then he wanted to cancel the show, and if everybody had already taken off work to do all, yeah, it was a big thing. And then I remember Jose calling me and being like, "Yo, you want to be on? This is what's going on." I'm like, "Yep." So he basically started, and it was called, I can't remember, there was something else that the original name was going to be, and then he came up with HH, changed it up, and took off what it was. Man, it was a long time ago. Long time ago. Back when everybody was on YouTube. At least, Jose was on all the time on his channel. Godsmack was on. Oh, he cracked me up. Pat Molly had his channel going. He still does some things. Scuba had his channel going. Um, Steve had his channel going. Just all kinds of everybody. And that's what, and then everybody kind of moved to Facebook. And I just hate Facebook because it lacks it lacks personality. It lacks, you don't feel like you're just looking at pictures, right? And that's it. And that's what YouTube was great because you felt like you got to, even before you met anybody, you felt like you knew who they were. And that was awesome. Yeah, Transworld's fun, man. The sounds, the smells, just everything about it. But it's been a long time since I've had the extra cash to go. Yeah, when I first went to Trans World, you couldn't get in unless you were um, either owned a haunted attraction or you um, were making props. And I had formed Unhinged LLC, and that's how I was able to get myself in. Uh, and then they started letting enthusiasts in. And then we had a year once where there was actually a Hunters Hangout booth, which was a boatload of fun because that's when a whole lot of uh, that was when Hunters Hangout was still young. Everybody's kind of getting to know everybody, and then that was a big hoorah that year. I haven't been to MHC yet though. Yeah, dude, you're exactly right. Being in a room full of people with the same ideas and the same hobbies and same addictions. It's a lot of fun. Scuba Tim cracked me up, boy. Yeah, and I think he still does it all the time too. But he always kept a backpack on him, man. It was full of shooters all the time. Did you when you went? I mean, I'm sure they do it every year. Um, did you go check out the Darkness Lights On tour? I've been through that a couple times now. But one of the last time we went though, I didn't go to the Darkness. That's when Phobius haunted, which was a little ways away from Trans World, and they took us on a bus. And those were the guys that had bought the haunt house stuff and basically moved an entire haunt and set it up in less than a year's time. Moved it from Texas to just outside of St. Louis. Yeah, everybody says MHC is a boatload of fun. I want to go, but it's another one of those money. It's been a money thing that's kept me from being able to do it. Where did that go? Here it is. Mm-hmm. I get a kick out of taking trash and making something from it. Yeah, I'm not sure either, dude. I'm not sure. But then again, you know, I like variety. Oh, Mary. Scary Mary. I don't know, if, Keith, if you know Mary or not. She's a hoot. They're from Branson. And she was a hoot at Transworld all the time too. But they put together a pro hunt out at her place. They had this little old barn, and we went down uh, to it. She gave us some tickets, and I took a pumpkin down to her and stuff, and whatever. But man, they had this tiny little barn, but we had so many back and forths through it and changed so much stuff up in it that it really felt like you were in a building that was way bigger. She did a great job with all of her set design. I mean, it just looked incredible. I mean, she did an awesome job. I just wish she could have kept it going. Yeah, Mary is something else, dude. She, because even back before, because that's when Hunters Hangout first kind of started, before it really got rolling, a lot of us would sit around on different nights and then do chat groups together, talk, drink, whatever. And then Mary'd be on there a whole lot. And she, they got some pictures. One night I was working on the wolf and basically I was working on his butt, and I got some pictures of that crap. And she's just funny, man. And that would be how it was too. Like they do they do hunters hang out on that Thursday night, and then a lot of the times after the show was over, I'd still be up doing things, and then shoot, man, we'd Diablo would send a link, join up in the chat, and then from that point on, we we'd sit around until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning just talking and drinking. And that's back, man, back in the day, back in the beginning of Hunters Hangout. He was so funny because it was just a drunk fest. I mean, everybody would just come on. Was Hunters? It was just Hunters got together on HH, right? And they do like interviews and talk about what someone's working on a prop or whatever it was, right? And or people would ask questions about their hunt, basically kind of like it is now. However, everybody was drinking. Everybody was drinking, and so through the night, it was always funny too because Diablo used to uh, really be more into hosting the show than what he is now. It was so funny because he would be up in his chair, and then the more he drank, he would slide down his chair, slide down his chair, slide. And pretty soon he'd just be head and shoulders that you could barely see above the counter. Oh my God, those were the days, dude. Those were the days when it was just a boatload of fun. Everybody got on. Everybody was just drinking. Everybody was just having just just a good time. Oh my gosh, it was such a blast. And everybody was just picking on each other too, right? Like everybody that was on HH that night was just, we're all just bantering back and forth with each other, teasing each other while while everybody's trying to explain either how they were building the prop or what they were doing or whatever. It was dude, it was so much fun. It was it's completely different. It's completely different now than what it was. HH is still good, but it's not the same crazy animal that it was when it when it first started. Oh my gosh, so much fun. I can one of the last times. Well, last time I was on, I've been on two, three times, something like that, and it's been 6 or 7 years ago since I was on. And I can remember drinking way too much that night too. Oh my gosh. And it was terrible because I wasn't like you hear that and this just popped. So I had a glass, just a standard little glass full, and man, every time I picked that up, it was just coming over the mic, and you could hear the ice just clinking around while everybody's talking about. Oh yeah, just funny stuff, man. Oh my god, hilarious. I miss some of those days. I miss those days when everybody was putting 90% of their stuff on YouTube, talking about their stuff. Um, I miss the days you had some of us would even um, basically kind of pick on each other through YouTube too, you know, and the channels and just kind of banter back and forth. The best guy on that was Godsmack, uh, Mark O'Doyle. Oh, he was funny, man. Come on there and just kind of doing parodies of other guys and making fun of them, and then those guys would do things back and forth. It just those back in the day, man. It was a different animal, but it was a lot of fun. Lots of fun. Uh, I think I don't know, Keith. The bad thing is I'm not sure. Let's see. Uh, I think he doesn't. He hasn't really put. I think he put some stuff up this year, but not a lot. A lot of guys um, after basically Facebook kind of took off. Um, a lot of guys quit doing stuff on YouTube, which really kind of sucks. Now I'm trying to do my YouTube for a different reason than what we did. Because so Ghoulish Cop, you probably don't even know him. He had God. I'm sorry, it's God's Flesh. Is Mark. See if I can do this. Copy. Man, I wonder if he still has the old. Mark, you still have the old stuff up? I'll have to. So then the thing is too, though, when you get there, dude, you have to kind of dig through. I had to dig through his stuff. You're gonna dig way through to find, and I don't know. Some of that stuff may be taken down to find his the older stuff where just making fun of, because he does one where he's making fun of Diablo. It's hilarious. He even put a fake little paper mustache deal on and stuff. Oh god, dude, we just funny stuff. Funny stuff back in the day. Oh, so you do know Ghoulish Cop, nice. I've got he was making T-shirts years ago. And the logo, what was the logo on it? I think it was like "Shut Up and Make Stuff" or something like that. And that was like a direct thing towards God's flesh because he got to do more where he was talking and BS and then building stuff. I've got one of those T-shirts. I think it's still in the. I think it's still in the closet. Hey, Bree, what's up? Yeah, that's gonna work. Yeah, we're talking about some old time stuff. Trying to get through this stuff so we can get back to some Halloween stuff. Dang, well, congratulations on the new job. 14 hours in a day, though, that's a long day. Hopefully, it pays decent enough for that 14 hours. Yeah, we're trying to do some cleanup down here in this room and then the room next to us because my wife's got a bunch of crafting stuff. So this weekend or whatever, we're going to start doing some rearranging on that stuff. I'm just trying to get these knocked out. I had someone who requested, someone works with my wife, wanted to buy some snowmen, and I didn't get these done. I started these before Christmas and didn't get them done, so I'm trying to get these knocked out over the next couple days so we can get those to her, and then that gets all kind of this Christmas stuff out of the way. Then I can start working on Halloween stuff because I got some killer ideas that I want to do. So I am anxious to get going on that. We can get some videos out there, some new stuff out there to everybody before I lose everybody's attention. Can you guys see that? Oh, that's going to work pretty decent. These are balls. Yes, they are. 3 of them. Paying off stuff is good. There's a lot of crap I want to pay off too. Also, I was saying earlier, see that? We got a nice flat, look at this flat bottom. So we got a nice piece of wood. See, we got some wood and then balls. So wooden balls. On these, I took this round piece of wood here, and then I took the balls, glued them together, hot glued them to this, and then did paper clay around all this and molded it to it so it have a nice flat bottom. I was just kind of testing it, and it worked out really, really, really good. So these two little snowmen have a perfect flat bottom on them, which I like. I did a hat like this the other day, well, a couple weeks ago. And I like the rustic look of it, so Oh, since you weren't here earlier, I'm thinking, so there's a lot of projects I want to make. And then we did the whole pumpkin, live pumpkin class where we are using the cotton balls or whatever. So I want to do another pumpkin class just because they're easy, but I want to do another one with clay and show another technique that I've been doing with clay besides the tutorials that I have that make for a fast build with the clay. However, so that being said, I'm thinking about doing Mondays as a Monday night live and trying to do some kind of live thing every single Monday and trying to work that in as a um, basically as a class, a follow along type of thing. So start some project, maybe one project a month or something. And then on Monday nights, work that project and everybody can be following along type of a deal. If I can get enough interest in that and have enough people on to actually ask questions and build along with me, then I think I'm going to go in that direction. Because it's like, I don't mind going live or whatever. And like right now, I just went on just to see if anybody is out there, but I feel bad for most people because if you're not asking questions or don't have things you're interested in, I run out of things to say and talk about. And then I'll just get in a trance of um, making stuff. Come on now. I want you to look a little worse than that. Dag never trying to fray up these edges a little bit because this is going to go on the top side of this hat and it's going to hang over a little bit, and I just kind of want to have it frayed up. Make this look more like a hobo's hat. Okay, let's do that. And then what your these are not my good scissors. They do not want to cut this cloth at all. Six people still watching. Ooh, we want this black down here. How about that? Oh, that would have been the way to have done it. Oh well. Not as much into Halloween as I am. So, but she likes it now. when we first got together, got even well, the first time she ever came over to the house, um, it was after Halloween. It was so funny, and I told her to just come down 6th Street until you see the house with all the Halloween junk in it, and then that's my house. And then she passed it by because I had the lights off, and with the lights off, she just thought it was a yard with a bunch of junk in it, which is actually pretty funny. But anyway, there was a time where she was irritated with it because I spent so much time. Right? I mean, I do spend quite a bit of time. When October hits, like I'm not doing anything else. Right? All I'm doing is working on the yard, finishing up other projects, whatever. And It was funny because she was always like, well, "You're so, so into this. Why?" She didn't understand it. And then we used to have a we used to have a Walmart here in town. It wasn't a super center. It was one of the original, just small little Walmarts. So then when October come around, people recognized me in town and they started asking if I was doing Halloween. And she was just like, she couldn't figure that out. And I tried to explain to her I've been doing it so many years that I kind of created a monster with it. And then one year we didn't do it. One year I said, okay, I'm not going to decorate the house for Halloween. I'll go with you to take the kids trick or treating. And we stepped outside, and this neighborhood was always booming with kids and trick or treaters. And we were going to trick or treat this neighborhood first. When we stepped outside, there was no one. No one was in our neighborhood at all. And everywhere we went, everybody was like, "Aren't you the people that decorate for Halloween?" And man, we got that over and over and over again. So after after that night, she was like, you're never not doing that again. You're going to be." So I was like, okay. And then over the years, she's grown to like it more and more. Um, she enjoys seeing the projects come together. Thinks I'm crazy a lot of times too, but she enjoys it, and so she works with the school system now too. So she's a paraeducator, and the kids are constantly always talking about it, right? So she works with fifth graders now, so they're constantly like, when October comes, that's the big thing everybody's talking about in school. So she gets a kick out of that. And then she's the one, she gives out the candy and stuff. And of course, we're out in the yard scaring everybody. So she likes to try to be that person to convince them to come in. She likes to be the safe one. But at first, no. Over time and over the years, yeah. And she's grown to where it's funny. She will see things in the store or maybe even some kind of junk or whatever. And she's like, "Oh, I bet you could make something out of that." So she's looking at stuff anymore the same way I look at things, which is awesome. Okay. Got a little quiet. I'm just trying to trim that down just a wee little bit. So it triggered me. Sorry, I don't know how long that's been up there. Man, I always loved Halloween as a kid, right? I love that spooky time of the year. October gets around, things start cooling down. I just as a kid really, really liked the spookiness. Always had a fun imagination with stuff. Um, so I just loved going trick or treating as a kid, of course. And finally, when I got basically where I felt like I was too old to go trick or treating, that was the first year that I started trying to scare kids coming up to the house. And I had some fun doing that. So then I tried to start kind of decorating the house because I lived in this house my whole life. Um, and then we never had a whole lot of money, so I couldn't really uh, decorate more than using stuff that I had. So basically, it started out for me wanting to be able to scare kids, and I was just kind of me in the yard. And then as I got older, I started decorating more. And in my when I graduated high school, I got a job as a crew chief for this jet powered truck called Super Shockwave. We travel all across the country. We go to drag strips and air shows and things like that. Race airplanes with this jet powered truck. And a lot of the time, the season would start around March, and then our season would end right around October. So then I come back home, young, single, and I've got 3 months off, and it hit October time, so I just had all this excess time on my hands. Um, so I started decorating the yard kind of more and more for Halloween. And of course, I was still like just finding junk around the house to decorate the yard with. And then back then, like Spencer's in the mall was super popular. And around here, like Spencer's had all the cool masks. They had like Spirit of Halloween did not exist. Spencer's carried a lot of that type of stuff, like different masks and props or whatever. But I could never afford to buy those things. And I was basically forced to, just make my own stuff. So one year I wanted to make like a gargoyle to go on the roof, and I did, and it was funny. That was my first paper mache thing. I had made. I took a When I was in high school. I took a Spanish class, and we made some pinatas. Right, that was the only thing I ever did with mache. So I tried to remember how to do it, and I took chicken wire, and I made this skeleton thing to look, and I made it to look like a gargoyle, and then I did ship straight on it and all that junk, and just used flour and water. I mean flour, yeah, flour and water as my paste. And it turned out pretty neat. Made the eyes light up, and then I spray painted it and thought the spray paint would seal it. And then I put it on top of the roof, and then we had a storm, and it just washed everything away. And it was nothing but it was nothing but wire. And I gave up mache after that, and I was like, "No, nah, I'm not going to do it again um, because it was a waste of my time." Anyway, then fast forward a few more years, and Halloween becomes popular, and he made some pretty neat stuff that I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And I was kind of curious in how he made it, and I never took any of his classes and stuff. I just saw that he was making things out of paper mache, and I was like, "Man, that's really neat. I think I can make some stuff like that." So I started dabbling with mache again. Well, then there was some old groups like what was there was a website, and it was before YouTube was really big or hot. And this website was like a haunt forum thing, and there was all kinds of stuff on there for making different props and stuff. But then there was something else, was a Spooky Blue or something? I can't remember. Maybe it was. And they had like a website and showed how to do some different stuff with mache. And I was like, well, if these people are doing stuff with mache, then I can. What I didn't realize is these guys weren't setting their stuff up for the whole month. They were basically going out and setting it up on Halloween and bringing it back down. So I got introduced to clay, and then started playing around a little bit more. I found Dan Reeder, who makes the dragons. Those dragons were super cool. And then he made some other just creatures and things. So he was an inspiration. And then I come across Ultimate Paper Mache Joni, and she was the first person I found that clay recipe with. So I took her clay recipe and changed it because I took the burnt linseed oil and stuff out of it, and then used Tight Bond wood glue because I've done construction stuff for a long time. So I used that instead because I figured it would hold up to. Anyway, started using wood glue. Once I realized, and I made a few things, and then I used the wood glue, and then I used some sealers, and then I started spraying water and stuff on them after they dried up to test them to see if they would hold up. And they were holding up to the rain. So once to the water. So once I realized I could kind of get them to hold up, then I was just like full bore into it, right? Because I had plenty of newspaper around the house. Wood glue was cheap, and I always liked sculpting and making things, so I could make something. I didn't have to spend a lot of money on either clay to make molds and latex. I didn't have to spend a few $1,000s in materials to do stuff. I could just take crap from around the house and start. And then I got on this like headhunt to be like, how cool can I take junk from around the house and make it look cool, make it look like it was bought at a store? So then I spent more time on a lot of these things to make them look as cool as I could. That's how I got into it. And then once I realized I could waterproof it and it would hold up, then from that point on, I was just making stuff from mache all the time. And that's really how I got to making more and more, right? Because I wanted my own stuff. I couldn't afford it. I found something that I could afford to do, realized you can make some neat stuff. And then I started doing stuff on YouTube because I was like, you know what? If I can make this stuff, anybody else can make this stuff. And yes, it's super time consuming, but for the most part, you can take trash from around the house and make something from nothing. That's where the slogan came from, making something from nothing. That was the biggest thing. It's so funny because I'll go back and look at like a lot of the early stuff I ever made, and it looks like such crap now when I look at it. But back then, I was like amazed. It was like the most awesome thing in the world to me because it was something I made and it was literally just newspaper, nothing else. I had an idea, it was newspaper, wadded stuff together, and then created this thing, this pumpkin, this skull, whatever it was, basically out of nothing. And it was awesome. And to me, I just thought it was super cool. So I just kept on going. And of course, you get better with time. I go back and look at that old stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't even want people to see that, but it is what it is. And then I started doing YouTube because I wanted people to realize that I even got some of my old videos because I've been kind of up and down through YouTube, right? Because I haven't been consistent, and there was times when people were like, "What?" I had to explain that I've never took an art class, none of that junk, and just self-taught myself how to do this stuff. And if I can do it, this freaking middle-aged biker, because back then I was worked at a bike shop, helped a guy build a bike shop, made a bike shop, and I ran motorcycles and stuff for years. That if I could make this stuff, then anybody could learn how to make this stuff. So that's where the YouTube stuff came from. Trying to teach people how to do it. And then it's just fun. I've always liked Halloween. I like that spooky time, that spooky stuff. I enjoy setting it up. And I'm everywhere right now. My God, it's like I got ADHD. The reason I started doing the yard, the biggest reason I started doing the yard is when I was a kid, there was a house like 5 or 6 blocks down the road, and they set dummies all the time up in like the old swing sets, the old metal swing sets that everybody had that you don't see anymore. So they had swing set out there, and they put dummies on the swing set, and then they ran rope to the arms. That rope went up over the top of the swing set and went back to the porch, and they sat on the porch, and the guy had a microphone and a speaker. And when as a kid, you go up to the fence, and then the dummies would talk to you. So the dummy would raise his hand. That was the dummy that would be talking, and the guy, of course, was talking to you. And as a kid, that was like the most awesome place on Halloween. It was just super awesome. There was nothing special with it, but as a kid, it was awesome. And then they moved away, and then there was never anything like that in the town again. No one ever, I mean, people put pumpkins on their porch or whatever, but no one did anything that cool. So as I got older, I was like, you know what? I want kids to have something, this cool, spooky house to go to, like I had as a kid. And that's what really spurred it on. And then once I started making stuff, then I was like, oh, I want to make this. And that's what I got excited about with Mache was whatever I wanted in the yard, I can just make it, right? So whatever crazy idea comes into my head, whatever weird pumpkin creature or pumpkin demon, pumpkin dragon, whatever it is, witches, whatever it is, if it's in my head and I want to make it, then I know I can have it. And I just make it and I got it for the yard. And that's where it got sucked in even harder. I really enjoy making things, especially when it turns out pretty cool. And just to be able to look at that and be like, I made that. I didn't buy that at Spirit of Halloween. I didn't go somewhere and get it. I made that. And for the most part, I made that out of crap and it looks pretty neat. So that's where all that stuff came from. I like to make things, I like to create. Super fun. And I will probably always do it. Does she have some? I'm looking at my wife's stuff over there. I think she got some greenery I can steal and put on this hat. I think I'm going to. Brad, Brave Ghoul. Yes, I make it. I make my own. I saw some stuff the other day. Well, I've seen it for years, and I think I'm going to buy some at Hobby Lobby or Michael's and do some testing between homemade clay and their clay. I've also got two different ideas now to change clay recipes and make them in different ways. And I'm not going to say what they are yet because I want to do them and test them and see how they work. I did one sawdust clay 5 years ago. That stuff was really actually pretty freaking awesome. Took detail well. I've still got pumpkin stuff around here that were made out of that. And you talk about something that holds up to the rain. That stuff holds up to the weather amazingly well. Amazingly well. Okay. Well, now that we got a nice black ring on there, I guess that's where the hat's gonna set for sure. We'll super glue this on. So yeah, Bree, that was a long-winded way of saying I got into it because I like to make stuff. If any of it made any sense, I just rambled that whole time. You're probably like, "Oh my God, I'm not. Nobody asked a question like that again." So I use a little hot glue to tack him down. Then I'm using some super glue to glue it into place. I noticed some of the stuff I made in the past, especially on these snowmen, when I painted on and then hot glue this stuff, the hot glue pops off the paint pretty easy. So you got to be careful with that. That camera just doesn't pick up. I like that floppy hat look. It's kind of scarecrowish in a way. Gosh, I just got everything has a Halloween vibe to it. All right, let's see if she's got some greenery I can put on right there and glue that into place. And I'm probably going to stop here. But I thought I was going to get these all the way done tonight, but that's that's not going to happen. I'll have to finish them up tomorrow. We'll do a little girl and guy action on these things. Let's see. Greenery. Oh, I didn't make it far for greenery, but I want to play around. This was a cheap, poor man's way to do a silicone mold that I did a long time ago. And this mold makes this design, little pumpkin. And Carrie got me some, called some Perfect Cast over there. I think I'm going to play around with that this weekend. I might even do a little video, an actual YouTube video on it. But I'm going to kind of slush cast that, and I think that sets up like a, not porcelain, but whatever. Can't even think of it. Anyway, it'll dry up hard. I'm going to slush cast it, so maybe the walls will be, that thick or whatever, and to see how it paints. And then, because when I was a kid, people used to buy, but there was porcelain. People used to buy those things to just take home and paint. So if it holds up pretty good and pretty decent, I may make a few of these and see if anybody wants some to just have as a painting project at home. And if they do and they like it, I might make some different pumpkins. I don't even remember how that was in there. Oh my gosh. But I made, and I cast these off of a paper mache pumpkin too. So I created this was, and I had to redo it. I can't even remember. I bought 100% silicone caulk, and then you mix that with, I think it was like, oh my goodness, I think it was Dawn dish soap and water and silicone caulk, and if you did that, then squirt it in there and it becomes malleable for a little bit, and you can kind of mold over the top of stuff. It's not a professional way to do it, but it worked. It was cheap. Let's see what do we have over here that I can steal. I'm gonna get in trouble. Why did she buy all kinds of stuff? What is this madness? Where did all of this come from? Oh, yeah, I remember. Shh. Nobody saw this. I didn't just steal this from my wife to cut up. Yeah, Bree, I did. So I made a small, I'll even show you a failure. Because you have to have the right type of silicone. This guy I've never paid, and I've never done anything with. So this is a paper mache pumpkin that I made. And so the other one, the taller one, I'd actually made the pumpkin first, and it was painted everything. And then I took that silicone stuff and you put it over the top, right? Well, this one was the first one I tried to do, and I used the wrong silicone. So when I tried to demold this thing, it didn't dry up at first. It came loose, and so it was just a complete failure. I've always told myself I was going to paint this thing and just kind of try to make this look slimy, like it's some kind of slime covered pumpkin. But I haven't done it. It's just stayed down here with me as the first thing that went wrong. So I made some other ones and then figured out the right stuff to use after having this failure, went after it again to see if I could do it. It was still kind of nerve wracking, and was able to pull off those couple molds. So I had an actual little Mache pumpkin. That's what I made my mold out of, and went after it again. So yeah, it's possible to do some of that stuff. And I'm thinking about taking some bigger Mache pumpkins and trying to make some molds of them so I could basically just take, because you can use the paper clay and you can put paper clay inside a mold and it will dry out over time and you can pull it back out and actually make something out of a mold. I mean, I've got I took a plastic skull that I'd bought and I literally cut the skull in half and then I pressed clay into the face side of the skull. It was just a cheap skull, and then was able to let it dry up and remove it. So you can mold the clay. So I'm thinking that I'm going to make some bigger pumpkins, and I'm going to make some 2 half molds, but I'm going to use why do I keep drawing a blank? Gosh darn it. Yeah, it's what I normally do the mother molds with, the white. Can't think of it. Oh my gosh, why am I drawing such a blank? Anyway, I'm going to make the molds out of that because that wicks moisture and it would dry faster. So I'm going to try to make some molds of some of my pumpkins where then I can just take paper clay, slap it inside each mold, let it dry out and pop it out and then glue it back together again. So I could literally sit around and make pumpkins just by pushing a bunch of clay in and letting that go somewhere else dry while I work on other stuff. And when it's dry, I can pull it out, put it together, and have a pumpkin. I used to make these too. The one in my tutorial looks terrible. But one year I made a bunch of trick-or-treat baskets. And I sold quite a few of these too. But this is just made out of paper mache. Small little deal. Made them look like pumpkins. Put jute twine handles on them. Small little novelty trick-or-treat baskets. There's a tutorial on how I did it, and I need to make a new tutorial because I rushed the tutorial and then the actual pumpkin looks horrible. It's embarrassing to even have it on my channel, but I guess the idea, people can still get the idea of how to do it. But those were fun. I never saw those before either, and I did that, and then it's funny, I'd never seen one like that. Of course, you know, back in the day, you got the plastic pumpkins. And then I made that tutorial, put it out, and then like a year or two later, maybe 3 years later, there was a movie, like a B-film movie, scary movie I saw, and it starts out and the kid's on a bicycle, and he's got one of those just like that. And I was like, I wonder if they got the idea from me. It was kind of neat, though. Well, there's a little green. Let's add a ball to that. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. A cookie jar deal. You could also take the same idea and make your own, Halloween candy bowls too. It's just the same thing. That's so funny. I make all this stuff, and yet I haven't made like something cool like that for Carrie to have all the candy in when she hands candy out to all the kids. Lupin! Yeah, that'd be cool. A full moon for a treat basket? That'd be awesome. All right, on. Uh, the Brave Ghoul. Are you on my Halloween paper mache Facebook page? Because if you are, as you make that rat, I'd love to see it. You can post pictures over there. Full moon howdies. Yeah, Bree. So that's you'll have to look up like, but the rat video isn't. So it's Envy. That's what I named the rat, and it's not like a real tutorial. Um, and there's two. There's one because that one I made that and that went to a haunt. So I think there's one where it's kind of a fast thing of just I think it's just basically pictures of it going together or whatever. Um, and then it went to the haunt. It didn't get stored right. Then it got ate by rats. It got all tore up. I had them ship it back to me. And then I redid it again. So then there's another one called like, well, let's do this. How about this? This will be easy enough. Let's self promote. How about it? Vidges. Vidges. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got a tutorial on how to make an owl too. Did that a couple years ago. That little thing turned out. It wasn't the best thing in the world, but it turned out pretty neat. I was definitely out of my wheelhouse trying to make an owl. But it turned out pretty cool. Where are you at? Where are you at? We are not there. There we go. Was copy. Here we go. So that is the rebuild. That links the rebuild to the NV rat. Oh, hey, thanks, Lupin, for that uh, the bat. I did that a long time ago. I should do another bat tutorial and change it up with some different ideas. So the rebirth, where is? I need to take all the brew episodes off of here too. They don't need to be on the channel anymore. They could go away. There's the wolf. Here's the witches. What? Really? Here we go. I was talking about this earlier, the Rum Reaper. Copy that. So anybody interested in this, I made a tabletop Grim Reaper out of a rum bottle. Dude, yeah, if you're new to Mache, you definitely picked a hard thing to start out with. Anybody's generally new, I always try to tell them to do a pumpkin first because pumpkins are the easiest thing to make. But awesome. I want to see some pictures of it though. I hope it turns out great. Let's see, the evil snowman and the standing evil pumpkin. Standing evil pumpkin. Like the big, uh, oh wait, the pumpkin demon? Like he's like 3 foot tall with 4 arms and 2 legs. Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah, I like him too. I'm gonna make some more of them. So there, we got a little greenery on his head. I'm gonna stop with these guys for tonight because it's 10 o'clock. Yes, yes. Yeah, I want to make some more pumpkin demons. I really like him, and he looked cool in the yard too because I was able to. Here's the bad thing: I don't remember exactly how I made his legs. I think it was just. I think it just had wire inside of them, and then I wrapped newspaper like super tight to it, and I think that made it stiff enough. Because I try to make. Now I might finish it up. I've got this. There's a rabbit. There's an Easter bunny around the corner. I started him last year for Easter for last year, and he's a decrepit, tore up, nasty looking bunny. And I had to mount him on some wood because everything kind of that project fought and fought and fought and fought me, and it made me so mad that I quit messing with it. And it's just around the corner over there, and I think I'll grab it and finish it up this year and post it as a video. But the bad thing is I'll either have to throw him away or something when he's done because I won't have any use for him. He won't go out in the yard for Halloween or anything like that. I won't ever use him. I just wanted to make it. So yeah, there's that. It's like I made the evil Joker. I had the evil Joker thing, and it laid around here forever, and I never used it. And it wound up one of the times this basement flooded, it got ruined, and I threw him away. All right. So I'm done messing with these snowmen tonight. It's getting late for me. I've got to paint their noses and stuff. His little hat looks pretty good, but I got to put arms on him and a scarf on him. And then I'm going to do her tomorrow. And that will get these done. So for all you guys, let's do this. So everybody that follows along, that's a subscriber. I don't know how many of you guys are subscribers or not. So all you guys that follow along for subscriptions, I'm going to start a new video this weekend, and I think it's just going to be last year wrapped up, just all the different things we've done, I did last year. And then I'm going to start some new Halloween projects. So I've got some projects that we're going to build. I'm thinking about doing the every Monday night build along type of thing. So you guys have something at least every week, because some of these builds I'm going to do are going to take longer to get done than just a week. So I'll never get them done in a week and be able to edit video and have it up. So we're going to get back on track on making some cool Halloween stuff. I got some pretty cool pumpkin ideas. So that's going to be exciting. There's some cool stuff I'm ready to make. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. Try to do things on Mondays, possibly. And what was it? And if you guys are interested in Bree, you said you were on seeing how that turns out. So I might even work on a video this weekend on just doing some slush casting with those two molds, just to see how they turn out. But we're getting back into it. It's Halloween time. It's build season now. These two little guys, I'm finishing these up. I just jumped on here to see if anybody will want to be on here. Get these guys done, and they can get gone to their new owners. And we're on to Halloween. We're going to make a bunch of pumpkin creatures this year. So there's going to be lots of tutorials on different kinds of pumpkin creatures. I'm going to do everybody's asked about tutorials on the Scarecrow Jacks. So I'm going to make a few Scarecrow Jacks, and we'll make a tutorial on one of those. I've got some different ideas for some different some twisted pumpkin stuff. It's going to be neat. Yeah, it's going to be here quick. So as they come out, watch them, share them, see if we can explode this YouTube channel up big, where I can just sit around and make cool videos for you guys all the time. Because when I get busy, it gets hard. It takes a lot of time to get a project made, a video edited. Hours and hours and hours and hours go into a 12-minute video or 13-minute video. Well, we can get some more patrons on there. We get some more people subscribing, some watchers, and all that good stuff. And that's something you guys. And here's you guys like Lupin. You're always around. Bree, you're always around. Susan, you just found the channel. I think you said you just found the channel. Someone just found the channel. The next few videos that are coming out, I'm going to be trying to do some different stuff, right? So a different feel to each video, whatever it is, to try to make them more entertaining. If you guys will comment on the videos, you can critique them. Let me know what you liked or didn't like, because I'm going to try to make things more entertaining to watch on not on the live side, but on the video side. So there's going to be just different stuff that I'm trying to make them more entertaining. Give me some feedback on that stuff. Let me know if you like certain things and you don't like certain things. A lot of the stuff anymore, my original videos were all real true step-by-step tutorials. So it would be a 30-minute step 1, step 2. I noticed a lot of people don't have patience for that. They want to see something built from the beginning to the end. So a lot of the videos anymore are going to be kind of like the gnomes I just did from start to finish, but it's not super detailed in how it was done. So I'm going to do a lot more like that. Then I think if I get people who want more slow down, true tutorial type stuff, I think if people really want that, I'm going to reserve that for those patrons out there that really want to get in on that. Besides doing the live classes, when I do the live stuff on Mondays from now on, that's going to be build along. So hopefully, when I'm doing those live things, people are there building the project right along with me. So anyway, guys, I'm out. It's 10:15 my time. I'm going to hit the sack. Get it tomorrow. I don't have anything going on tomorrow, so I have a day to work on this stuff, work on some more YouTube stuff. I appreciate all you guys that sat around and hang out today, because these lives are boring. I mean, I think they are. I mean, I'm working, but I can only imagine it's boring for you guys, because I run out of things to talk about, unless you're asking me questions. So I'm glad to see everybody here. Bree's glad to see you. Lupin, Keith, I think Keith is already gone. Appreciate all y'all. I'm out. Be looking next Sunday for a new video. Until then, what? Keep making something for nothing? I'll see you guys later.